Hi, everybody. So while we wait for my slide to get on the screen, how do I do that? Next. Miriam, maybe you can help me with the slide. But before we get into my slide, let me just give you a little background on me. Before we talk about Gastronomous, my new company, I was 25 years in the automotive industry, automotive manufacturing industry, running a company called Sumo. And we had 3 manufacturing plants here in Burlington. We had one in Monterrey, Mexico. And we became the largest supplier of tubular components for automotive passive safety systems. So airbags, seat belts, car seats. Very successful, and we sold that business in 2016. And I, as CEO, I had to stay on board for a few years. And in 2020, I made a complete change in my career. I had 25 years in automotive manufacturing, which, if most of you in this room probably supply the automotive industry, know that it's what we call a red ocean industry, meaning it's shark-infested waters, highly competitive, and most of the times you're differentiating with price, which is a terrible way to differentiate if you're trying to make money. So we decided, my partner and I, who was the director of innovation for our company, a brilliant mechanic, inventor, we decided to enter a new industry and bring the know-how and experience from our automotive days, which, by the way, is the greatest training ground if you want to become efficient, optimize process, and bring it to an industry that really needed solutions. And that's the food service industry, believe it or not. So at the age of 46, I was a startup guy from industry. Quite an interesting experience. So let me get into, there we go. So here's the industry problem. In 2019, about a year before we started the business, our friends at Fennec Robots, and we'd been doing business with Fennec since about 2007. We automated a lot of our processes here in Burlington, also in Mexico. And they knew that we were looking at this space. And they said, look, if you're serious, now's the time to get in, because we're getting inquiries from really big groups like McDonald's, Burger King, Tim Hortons, all these big food service groups that are struggling with labor, and they need solutions, and there's nobody out there providing solutions. So here are the industry stats. I mean, these are pretty compelling stats. This is for the US. Over 900,000 unfilled jobs in the food service sector. By 2030, they're predicting 3.1 million openings, job openings, and couple that with massive labor turnover, right? These are not pleasant jobs. You're working in hot environments, greasy, repetitive work, chaotic, right? Very chaotic. I don't know if any of you, when you were younger, worked in fast food. Not a great environment to work in. So it's really become a problem for these businesses to be able to operate with the current business model. So our solution is, what we're trying to do is we are developing what I call micro-automation solutions. So automation has been around the food industry for decades, right? If you go to a big, Maple Leaf Meats, food processing plants, you've got big automated lines with robots and palletizing and all of that. These are multi-million-dollar lines. What doesn't exist is automation on a small scale. So instead of a one-off $5 million automated line, we're talking about automation solutions that may cost $50,000, $60,000, but multiply that 100,000 times across massive food chains. So totally different dimension, but requires new technology that doesn't exist today, right? We cannot use automotive controls like Siemens, Allen Bradley, Beckhoff. These are very expensive controls. You got to be very capital efficient. And so, this is the challenge that we have, and this is what we've been developing over the last 2.5 years. So really quickly, our startup journey. May 2015, my partner and I are coming back from a big machine show in Düsseldorf, Germany. We're having dinner somewhere in Europe, and we come up with the idea that, eventually the food service sector has to become automated, or they have to, embrace automation, because it's a very labor-intensive, labor-concentrated industry. But we decided back in 2015 that the timing wasn't right. Fast forward to September 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, we saw that the timing was right, and we made the leap into a completely new industry. So after many months of talking to different customers, finding out what their problems are, how automation can solve some of their problems, we were awarded our first contract in May 2021 with Canada's largest restaurant group. And a year later, we were awarded the largest government grant at the time, $1.9 million government grant by CFIN to develop automation for food service. Last December, we closed a $2.5 million seed round. And we have the former president CEO of Tim Hortons as an investor and an advisor. We've launched our first product in a fast food chain a month ago in Toronto for beta testing. And just this last month, we were one of 4 startups in Toronto that made it through to the super session at Creative Destruction Labs, which is a venture program at U of T, working with massively scalable startups. So here's the team 2 months ago. It is now doubled. So this is an old picture 2 months ago. We have a product development facility here in Oakville, next door, with equipment to be able to do rapid prototyping. There's some former McMaster students who are our key engineers right now. We've had incredible success with people from McMaster. And here is a vision of solutions to come. So thank you very much, and look forward to the discussion.